Hello, Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine here with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast. And I'm here again with my bro, Myrick Coil. And today we have Offshore Race Teams owner of Team Farnsworth, Mr. Win Farnsworth. What's up, Win?
How are you, brother? Good to see you.
Good, man. Great to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. So Win's in Florida, and you can see it's dark behind him, and I'm in Missouri, and it's light behind me, and Ray's in a basement in California, I think. I don't know what's going on there, but
yeah,
it's probably still light in California, too.
Yeah, we're in all three time zones.
So. Yeah,
for sure.
Win. So you and I have known each other for quite a while, and we were just talking before we came on recording. Boy, you have to be the largest growing offshore team ever.
Well, we're happy to participate. We have kind of worked our tails off. We got our SV boat, and we got our Super Cat, and we got our Class 5 boat. I'm not going to run my Class 5 boat this year. After this call, we will figure out if we're going to run the 517 boat, which was our national championship boat last year. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. We'd had a couple medical issues with a couple of the team members, with Craig Belfato, and Elijah is moving up into our 44 boat. But to me, I look at it and say it's an absolute shame if you've got a national championship boat and you're not running it. So I'm hoping that once we get together tonight, the guys will figure out kind of what that path is, because we were national champions in the 4-4 boat, national champions in the 517 boat. So I think we just got to kind of continue to push through that. And as Myrick does, guys got to do double duty.
Yeah.
Triple duty for Myrick, and triple duty potentially for you too. I mean, 2 short years ago, you started with a 549 boat in the bracket class 500, and 2 years later, you're the owner of 3 different teams.
True.
Yeah. Wild.
Seems like a really good choice, doesn't it?
Yeah, and championships.
glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I mean the energy is unbelievable. I mean, we are, we're surrounded by really, really good people. It's a ton of fun. You wake up at night and you get frustrated and irritated with the workload, and you go, you know what? The Tree Bar Key West with all the guys is worth living, for every year, right? That is a really unique situation. It's very different than the shootout world I was in. All these things kind of have their own deal and their own kind of space, but that's a special place. And when people are running down that mole, right? I mean, watching Myrick and Tyler run last year in that Super Cat boat, that thing was dialed in, right? I mean, if that doesn't make you want to excel and just try to create something better, then you set your desires and dreams far too low.
Yeah. So, well, what I think about offshore racing is we go to so many cool places. I mean, like, get to go to racing. We're going to Marathon next weekend. Some people get to go to not dissing Topeka, Kansas or anything, but, and go to the middle of a cornfield or, go racing wherever people go racing. I know it'd be great to go. I really like the northern races in August when it's hotter than hell down here. And then we go up there and St. Clair and stuff like that. I know we're probably not doing it this year, but going up there and it's like, man, I can see why people summer up north, because it is nice up here, that kind of stuff. But we're very fortunate to have races in great places. So
it really is. And we've had a lot of struggle this year kind of aligning those schedules because there are so many races, right? I mean, just a few years ago, you'd have 12 races and you pick 8 and everybody's pretty happy. Now you got 16, 17 races on the schedule, right? So you got to figure out how to get to all of them. And as we all know, the parts are not cheap. So you got to do your best with what you can do.
Yeah. Explain to the people out there some bracket classes like 500 and stuff like that. Tell them, what a bracket class is.
So the 700s, 500s, 600s, 400, 300 on down the stack, right? You got a group of guys that have the they're required to be within a speed bracket, right? So class 5 specifically is being under 75 miles an hour. If you accumulate a greater than 3 seconds breakout, then you are disqualified. It's over, right? I mean, it's not like some of our other races where if you miss a turn, you get a little penalty, right? Maybe you get 30 seconds, a minute and a half, whatever it might be. You're done. It's over. Put it on the trailer.
That's one of the things that's hard for the announcers when they're like, hey, it's an unofficial result, because the guy that might have a 10-second lead might have broke out and he's last place. So it's got to make it tough on those guys.
Yeah, it is. And it's an emotional experience because everybody we all have multiple V boxes in our boats. Those V boxes, we turn them in, race control looks at all that data and then lets us know where things fall. So it's a pretty tricky, it's a tricky situation because even your driver and throttleman may not know, right, what the situation is until they get on the trailer. And you can have something as simple as a GPS malfunction and get disqualified, right? You have to be logging your data. So it's a pretty complex situation. And, ultimately, if you look at some of the class 5 teams and the competitive nature you've had there with JJ, and you had Stancombe, and you've got Elijah, you had the Bronx boat, Vinny. I mean, you had some real talent in there. So I think you're going to start seeing those guys moving up into Mod V. We got one of the guys running Super V with us this year. So you're going to see them start coming out of those bracket boats, and we'll see how they do, right, in kind of that mainstream competition. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's neat. It's definitely the way to move up. Get your feet wet. Hopefully not wet, but you try to go out there and just get your mind right to be able to go through all the stuff that it takes to go boat racing. Whether it's and most of it is mental. Because if it's physical, I wouldn't be able to race 3 boats in one day.
That's true. Yeah, and with that. With that point in mind, we got 2 guys wet in marathon last year, right? I mean, it's
and the bracket classes are open boats. Yeah, they're open boats.
I mean, it was a scary experience, right? I mean, you start dumping guys in the water. It's a lot to deal with, but everybody was safe, obviously, but it did create some stress, and and these are bootstrapped boats. I mean, most of us in Super V or Super Cat, we kind of have a program going. You tear a drive off of a class 5 boat, that is a season-ending impact for most of these teams out there. They put all their own money behind that.
Yeah, that'd be a $15,000 deal, and right off the bat, and then all the damage, everything else that happens. So
all the collateral stuff for sure.
And that's why we like to cover all of the bracket classes within each race, or at least as much as we can, is because those guys are the grassroots of racing. They pull their money together, and they pay for their own travel, and they make it out to race 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and with an easy up and go racing. And good for them.
Yabba Dabba Doo in class 5 last year. I mean, he's one of the coolest guys out there. They're an awesome group of people. Hammerheads, they're awesome. 130 years of experience in that boat. Those guys are awesome, right? I mean, but they just love what they do. But they're bootstrapping it. To your point, they're coming in their truck from wherever,
right?
And they'll come a long ways to come down here and race in Key West specifically, or Cocoa Beach. Everybody loves Cocoa Beach.
Yeah. So let's rewind you a little bit. When back in the day, obviously you had a successful business and allowed you to buy your first performance boat, which I believe was a Magic deck boat.
Magic deck boat. Yep.
What year was that?
That was probably 2002, maybe.
Yeah.
That boat was, I thought it was so awesome. It had 700 in it. We could rip around anywhere, have a blast with 18 people. It's a really cool boat. And it kind of just got the speed going,
Where'd you do most of your boating in that boat?
Lake Havasu, Casper, Wyoming, at Alcova. And then, in the winter months, we'd head to Havasu.
Nice.
So That was
And
a
then
cool.
What was your business? I think I remember being software of some kind. Or
So no, I built. I had an infrastructure company. So we built data center infrastructure, telephony systems, kind of your traditional value-added reseller of Cisco and EMC and Pure and all the kind of the stuff that runs down the stack to go in the data center space.
I see.
So did that from 1998 to 2019 and sold my business then. But boated a lot before then, right? So, I mean, we obviously had the DCB and the other DCB and the Mystic and all the shootout stuff that we used to do. So, we kind of been, up and down that performance stack, from, literally the outboard, 420 that we had, that we got from you guys, Myrick, all the way through the turbine powered Mystic. So we were kind of all over the board.
Yeah, you've had some stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite boat?
Favorite boat. I love our 42 Fountain. I mean, it has a soul, right? I mean, when you get in that thing and you crank it over, the noise is just overpowering. And it's something I miss with all the outboard class stuff, right? I mean, I'm not an anti-outboard. I love the sound and the energy as all these boats come by, so that's why we're working so hard to get the Super V class rebuilt, and it looks like we have 6 boats that we may be able to put in Ocean City. They won't come all the way down to South Florida for some of these races, but it looks like we have 6 boats that may join us up there. So that would be, kind of the first time in a lot of years, 10 plus years, that we've had that many Super Vs on a race course.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I remember back in the shootout days, your shootout days, namely back at like the Texas Outlaw Challenge when you had low altitude, the turbine powered Mystic down there, and you and Kenny Mungle had quite the rivalry going on. That was fun. Awesome. We still have pictures of you guys doing the shotgun poses against each other, down in Texas.
Awesome time.
And I think to this day, you are the one that's taken me the fastest in a boat. I think we did like 187, 188 in your Mystic. So that record still stands for me. So thank you.
Awesome. That's good. Yeah,
that's a good record.
Yeah, we ran 201, something 201, 202 down there in Texas. That boat was fast. It was an awesome boat. We always struggled at Lotto. That water's sticky like a mofo, right? I couldn't. I don't know what to say, but I couldn't get my boat to go there. I got, I think 183 or 185 in the shootout was the best I ever got. We ran a 196 and Havasu. So, I mean, we were kind of all over the board, right? From a speed and performance perspective in that thing, but, love the Mystic. It was a great product. John Cosper was great to us, making sure that we kind of had all the things we needed. But, the Fountain's a really, really cool product. And I think what I really like the most about it is like when we go to the street parties or we're doing the things that we all do together, everybody walks up. My dad had one of those, everybody relates to, having an old fountain and an old cigarette. And it just kind of changes the interaction from being, hey, what's that thing cost to, my dad had one and where they want to talk about what their boat was. And it becomes much more interactive. So I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
I remember, being asked by Skip Braver from Cigarette one time. We were there for a meeting, and I think the 42X had just came out, and it was really rocking and rolling. And Mark had a 52 outer limits and all this. And Skip kind of pulled me aside and said, if you were going to race a V-bottom, what would you race? And I said, a 42 Fountain. And he about fell over. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, it's good in the rough and it's good in the calm. I need to be able to do both,
That's
and
right.
And he's kind of like, well, what about? And I was like, you asked the question, bud.
That's right.
And it was, he didn't necessarily like the answer, but he got educated in what I knew about 42 Fountains and how they feel and stuff like that. So
yeah,
cool.
Our boat ran quick last year. We broke almost everything in that boat. I mean, not a point of pride, right? The guys ran it hard. We have, as most of us do, we have a lot of suspension seats. And so a lot of the video that we got from the cockpit, it looked like a really smooth ride, right? We didn't realize the boat was being terrorized by these guys. I mean, just and until you know, and I de-rig them, right? Craig Chiddington and I de-rig the boats, and you get these things apart and you start looking at broken stringers. And I mean, just the places where these things snap and break. And, you know, we had to put a new bottom in it this off season, and 4 stringers. And I mean, we broke that boat everywhere. And I thought it was running great. I mean, and, it just, we need to pay a little more attention, but the 42 Fountain is an animal. I mean, it's a cool boat, for what it is.
Yeah. A lot of those canopied boats, the access to get down there to even take a flashlight and look around is really tough. So, you know, unless there's like a checklist to where, hey, did you go look at the stringers? Yeah, I looked at them. They're good. You know, no, you didn't. Did you really go down there and look at them? You know, it's tough.
With ours, with our arnisons, we're mounted about 3/8 of an inch off the floor. So there's no ability to see it. You got to pull engines. So, you know, unless you have the time, you know, and as we know this season, Lotto to Ocean City, you know, Cocoa Beach, Lotto, Ocean City, you know, you're just gonna have to roll with it, right? I mean, you just got to do the best you can.
Yeah, so. Speaking of bottoms, I think I saw Team Woody was putting a new bottom in their boat just recently too.
Yeah. Billy just got his done. He was working on that since I think Clearwater. It came apart in Clearwater on him, so get that fixed. But
talk about season-ending shit. That is it when your boat breaks up, because fiberglass work takes a lot longer than rigging and rebuilding an engine or rebuilding a drive or whatever. But when it takes the time of cutting it apart and then deciding, okay, what do we do and how do we fix it, and the time for everything to dry and body work and paint work, it can be time consuming.
Yeah, they got. I used Robbie from the Australian Navy team to do our bottom. He does a very nice job, and it took him 2.5 months, almost 3 months to get it done. Right, but
those guys are good. They know what they're doing. They're like they can weld. They can do anything. I mean, they can build a boat basically.
They're very capable guys.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
So when going from a deck boat, a magic deck boat, cruising around in Lake Havasu, to participating
with 18 people,
and 3 ice chests, and going from that to your DCB M41, which is a beautiful boat, silver linings, right? And then participating in the shootouts, and then especially with the low altitude boat, and so participating in parkour runs, competing in shootouts. What made you do the transition from that to becoming an offshore team owner?
We just got burnt out of the poker run and the shootout scene. Candidly, we kind of tried all the boats. We had a great time. We were having a blast. But at the end of the day, we just needed a break. We wanted to get a big boat. Kind of cruise around, maybe run to the Bahamas, do some fishing when we wanted, just take a little bit more casual approach. We did that for, call it 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. And then, the itch just starts creeping back. Right. But it was never about shootouts again. We needed a new challenge. When we started looking at the teams down here in Florida, looking at the amount of work they were going through and how competitive the landscape was, that was something that we just kind of got excited about. It was like, this is a tall order at any class, right? I mean, our first year, we got whooped in a class 5 boat, just beat. And it didn't matter. And Ray, I told you earlier, we bought a $7,000 boat and put $200,000 in it, and it still couldn't win. Right? We just had, if we could do it wrong, we did it. Right? I mean, it's a totally different thing than what we experienced in the shootouts. I mean, that 3/4 mile pass is a very accredited and important element of our sport, but it's very different from an overall skill set perspective. And watching what these teams go through to prep on Thursday and Friday, to test on Saturday, to race on Sunday. And you initially go, well, it's only 55 or 60 miles. How hard could this be? I mean, and that's what, kind of goes through your mind. And, I'm here to tell you, it is damn hard. I mean, at every level. And I watched the Class 7 guys getting annihilated out there in the waves. They earn their money, right? Which is zero, right? I mean, they do this just for bragging rights, and it's incredible to watch. I get so much excitement about watching the energy and being on the shore, watching the guys. For me, it's euphoric. It's the best. I don't know how else to put that, but it's,
I'm sure it's kind of like your businesses through the years. They were probably your babies too, and similar to this team, like being a manager and then getting everybody aligned and finding good guys to do the job, and then seeing the reward. Sean Trente told me one time in our podcast and through text, he goes, "One thing's great about racing, we know who the winner is tomorrow."
That's right.
And it's like. And if you're a loser, you have to live with that for however many months or until the next race. But at least and it's not like, well, I hope I did good. And it's like, nope, you didn't.
Right.
I didn't. It's black or white. So anyway,
you're exactly right. Well, no, I think and I was just going to look that up because you said that, but Reggie Fountain made a very similar comment, right? And that was that to the victor goes the spoils, and to the loser goes the ability to regroup, relearn, and retry, right? That's all he gets, right? And so you gotta focus and looking at your team, the success you guys have had, and the energy that everybody's putting around coming into the Super Cat space and being after you guys, right? I mean,
exactly.
It's awesome. It's still it's competitive, but it's fun. And that's one thing about this space is because it isn't for a bunch of money, it can be competitively fun, right? Nobody's getting, you did this, I did that, right? I mean, it's a pretty good environment.
Out right after the race. Good job. Nice try, right. Or way to go. You'll get, or congratulations, you won, things like that.
Right. And, it's very different.
But knowing you win with your competitive nature, especially with the shootouts and stuff, was it a difficult decision for you not to race the boats yourself, to give up the cockpit to somebody else?
It was. We were pretty successful in shootout world. We'd won Texas, we'd won Lotto, we'd won Desert Storm multiple times. I mean, so it was something I wanted to do, but Jay Healy's one of the best guys I know, right? And he and I were kind of talking through our 5-boat problems, and he kept talking about wanting to get into a Mod V and really start his racing career, right? And I was like, well, hell, I was looking for a storage building and found Taboo, right? The 42 Fountain. So that's how that all happened. It wasn't by design. I just stumbled across the thing in a garage. So I bought the boat a couple days later, and I knew, once the cat was out of the bag, if other people were looking at this building, this thing's going to be gone. So I bought it right away, and I asked Jay if he'd run it, and I was planning on running with Jay, and Christian McCauley, who used to run the Gonigan team, had asked. He called me and said, "Hey, I'd like to work with you on a sponsorship to where I can, drive the boat." So that's kind of how that came about. For me, the thing that was crazy about it is I get to spend all the time in the garage wrenching on the boat with the guys. I love, Myrick, as you do all the time. I mean, we get to build stuff. We're not flying in and just driving stuff. It's a totally different world. So I enjoy it. Craig and I put 2 engines and 2 harness and drives on on the Fountain this week to get it ready to go get wrapped. And then we get the Super Cat back tomorrow. We'll put those engines in after I get back from Atlanta. Tomorrow night, I got to go up there and get those engines. I enjoy that. I like the energy. I like the team approach. There's days where you get frustrated with the team guys because you don't really feel like they may be picking up the weight. But part of that's, that's our fault. I got 2 guys in Ohio. I got a guy in South Carolina. I got a guy in New Jersey. I got, they're spread all over. They can't be you got jobs. They can't be down here in South Florida building this stuff. So, the hard part is when they show up on next Thursday, they're going to be like, hey, Win, you missed this one thing. And then you try not to lose your mind, right? Because you're like, I've been on this for weeks, but I love that part. I love it. I love the build out. I love the energy in the crowd of watching everybody, watching them, right? Whether it's MCon at the World Championships, it's just the feeling on that on the mole is awesome. The feeling in Clearwater on the beach is awesome. Sarasota on the beach is awesome. St. Clair is one of the best, right? That energy, and Myrick, you mentioned it earlier about just how, we get to go to these great places, but those people are just so overwhelmed with what we bring to their towns, and it's cool, right? And you don't see that when you're in the boat, right? You're out there competing, but you don't get to see how appreciative they are and how overpoweringly cool it is to them, right? So it's just a different angle.
It's a big deal for some of those towns that we come to. I mean, it's what they look for all year. It's like, for sure, my hometown, where I grew up, there was what we called the Macafest, and all the carnival came to town, and it was like the best day. I couldn't imagine if there was a lake there and now there's boat races at the same time. It would have blown our minds, Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you debuted your new Supercat, or new to you, your Supercat MTI in Key West last year. And it was kind of, you were just going to take it there to show, and you kind of get your hand forced to get it wet and compete.
We were told, don't bring it unless you intend to race it. So if you pay a $5,000 registration fee, then you put it in the water, right? So we promptly went and tore the bustle off, tore the tunnel tab off, right? That was kind of the first, it just, the boat, we weren't prepared to race it, but it is what it is, right? So
I always tell everybody about Key West. You learn more in that 1 week than you do in a whole season of boat racing, because you can take what you learned on Wednesday and apply it to Friday, and do the same thing about Friday and apply it to Sunday. And you see the gains or the losses that you, because it's right now, and the conditions are pretty close to what they always are, compared to going from Michigan to Florida and then being like, hey, we were pretty good there, but we suck now, so it's just
we tore the tunnel tab off on the first lap on Wednesday, and that was pretty much all she wrote, right? Without a tunnel tab, you're not gonna
coming into the bay. It makes a big difference.
So it's fine, but the boat still ran good. It looks great now. I just got it. Ryan Beckley is doing all the work for us on getting it rewrapped, and it looks unbelievable. So, we just threw some Hancock stickers on it, just because if we had to take it, we might as well represent our sponsor. So, now it looks the part. We've done everything we could possibly do this off season to get it where it needs to be. The boat is the boat, right? So we're going to have decisions to make in future years on what we want to do, whether we want to go to a skater, continue to run an MTI, or what we're going to do. But the boat it's sound. So, we'll see how it does. We know we got a big hill to climb on that one.
Do you think it'll be competitive in the Supercat class? Because you guys are technically competition to one another now. And
yes, I think
obviously the boat is in much better race ready conditions now than it was in Key West. And so looking forward to see how it competes in Marathon next weekend.
We were competitive with 5 boats in Key West that don't need to be named, but we were competitive with those boats. Our lap times were better on Friday and on Sunday. But we on Sunday, again, rookie BS that we did. We hit our we hit our MSDs and screwed with our rev limiters. We got 5,600 RPMs, had to pull the infield, adjust that, get back out. We made up an enormous amount of time. So the boat's going to be competitive. Anthony Smith is a very good throttleman. I think he'll do well for us. I think we put ourselves in a position to be a competitive boat. we're not lights out. We're not going to, we're not going out and sweeping this thing. We're not the Chicago Bears. We're not showing up out of nowhere and being crazy. Right. Yeah. But we got a boat that everybody, I think, will look at and go from not racing to being in this super cat group. We'll be competitive and we'll do make everybody proud that we're there.
I totally agree. Yep. I mean, hell, that boat was did it win, or it was close to winning with Chris and Chuck? Something happened, maybe. Yeah, in Key West,
and then they lost a fuel pump, and then that cost them.
Yeah, but because they had potential to win the whole thing that year.
Yep. Yeah, the boat's competitive. It's probably got it's the newest MTI top that they do, so they've got all the latest safety gear on that boat. We need to figure out. We've just entered our engine program, so we're a split team. So our Super V boat is with Scorpion, and that has been working awesome. At the request of our sponsor this year, we're using Kase for all the Super Cat stuff. Mm-hmm. They just dynoed our stuff today, ran awesome. Obviously, you guys have already been testing Myrick, right? So you're far ahead of us, but we're coming into a 6-engine program instead of having it. It takes time to build that. And this marathon race, it's just too tight from November, right? There's just not enough time to build all these engines. So, we're up against, we got our backs against the wall and some of that stuff. We got 2 engines, like I said, it'll be, I'll go get tomorrow night. And then the 4 subsequent engines should be here within 3 weeks. So we should be in great shape. So then we can start working through that program, and hopefully Tyler will coach me on how and when to do what, right? I mean, I think, as we all compete, we're also all buddies too. So just kind of doing the right thing.
We usually do a 5-engine or a 5-race setup, which comes out to about 15 hours. So that's what we learned over the years. And then top ends, and then but it's you're doing it right. Kazi's good. I deal with him with a lot of things, and Frank's good too with Scorpion, and that's what was in the boat we tested today of Vinny's. So
our Super V ran awesome with them. I mean, they were great. So we're pushing a lot of horsepower out of the carbureted motor. It's a fun time and loud, and I mean, it's just obnoxious.
Raspy,
Oh, just awesome.
Love it.
I do.
That's what race fans love. They do love that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing I love about standing on the shore. I mean, that old fountain, everybody loves that noise. And it's just, if you can get us, when we were in St. Clair and had Evil Ed with Instigator out there, or whatever, whatever he calls it now. I think it's Knucklehead, actually, not Instigator. He'd kill me for that.
I had exhaust out the side of it, I think.
Yeah, I've got 2 out the side. Yeah, I've got 2 out the side and 2 out the back, and he's got, I think, all 4 out the side.
Yeah.
And his is just obnoxious.
Yeah.
But
in a good way.
Cool. Yes, in a great way.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what people say about me.
That's right.
I'm obnoxious in a good way.
In a very good way. That's right.
Win, your shirt, Hancock Claims Consultants is your returning sponsor for the 2nd year.
Yep.
How did that come about?
Brad and I have been friends for a few years. Just from the kind of the poker run scene, we've all kind of known each other. And Brad wanted to get into racing, and he's the one that came to me, and said, "Hey, I want to work with you guys on this." So he's been unbelievable, very supportive. Last October at the Fort Lauderdale show, I think it was October 28th, 31st, it's right around Halloween. He's like, we need a Super Cat. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to buy one. So I had offered some money on the MTI, and they told me they maybe had a better deal. And so I met him the next day, and he was like, cheers at the bar. He's like, let's cheers to having a Super Cat boat. And I said, well, I didn't get it. We got outbid. And he was like, what? He just lost his mind. He's like, that wasn't really the option, right? So I called Chuck, and Chuck assisted me in getting that deal done. So it all worked out, and that Brad is passionate about it. You don't see him in the pits. You don't see him running around causing problems. He's not injecting himself in to what we're trying to do, but he loves it. He is all about it.
What is Hancock Claims Consultants? What do they do?
They do insurance claim adjusters, right? So they do hail damage, tornadoes, any of that. When the insurance company sends adjusters out to actually evaluate your roof or your structural problems that you have for hurricane, tornado, wind damage, storm damage, they provide all the adjuster services for that. They've got about 600 adjusters nationwide, and they do an enormous amount of business across the country. Do a really nice job, of helping customers that are in need.
Funny story about that is my house in Havasu, a windstorm blew through there and just ripped the roof off my house, and so I had to call my insurance company and went through the thing, and Hancock Claims Consultants did their thing, took care of me. It was really simple. And then I think a week or two after that happened is when you guys announced that Hancock was your new sponsor. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So along with you, Win, is your partner in crime, Sarah. Talk about what she does for the team.
Oh yeah, she's handles our website, all of our social media presence, all our travel, all of our CDL paperwork for all of our semi transport. She handles meals. She handles
you.
I mean me.
You.
Which
is a full-time gig.
Me. She called today, bought us another transport truck because we were one truck short to get the Super Cat to Marathon. So she got a truck. I got to go pick it up in Atlanta.
Nice.
She got that deal done. She just handles, Sarah's a very capable lady that just handles kind of, all the things that we need. We're all running around being crazy. And she's like, wait, hang on, slow down. I think we can solve this a different way, just awesome. A little more level-headed than I am. So she's been a great partner with us on the offshore stuff. She's got a really cool program that she's doing in Marathon. So she challenged all the wives of the team to come up with some sort of charity event that they're going to do at each race. So in addition to doing all the race work, they're sponsoring in Marathon. We're sponsoring, I think, 14 dogs at the ASPCA down there to provide them, non-euthanizing service. I should know more about that. I don't know yet, but I know that our girls, Mandy and Sarah and I think Mandy actually thought of the idea and Sarah followed up. But they're doing an awesome job of coming up with creative ways in every community to do something that's about the community, instead of just us being there as a race group, drinking in all their bars, right? So
it leaves a lasting impression.
Right. So
that's outstanding.
So that was kind of a cool thing that she's doing. But yeah, she's worked her tail off on the semi, getting all that, and Myrick, you guys know how that goes, rolling all those trucks. But she handles all the paperwork and all the drug testing and all the exams and reasonable suspicion tests and all that stuff. So she does all that. So she's more than just a pretty face, for sure.
Yeah. And cool. She couldn't be more passionate about it. Being on the mole or on along the race courses. I mean, when you hear somebody yelling, it's her. It's super loud, and she's into it. So it's fun to watch.
Yeah, we try to be. Some teams come out and they're F-bombing this and F-bombing that, and I'm not going to name names, but the other teams handle themselves differently, and we are, our music is always mild. Our approach in the pits is always mild, and we might party at the bar, but we do that, do it differently without our team shirts on. Right. But Sarah is the one that you will find that she'll cut loose every once in a while. Like, she's just pretty excited. So
yeah, that's awesome. For sure.
We're like, we got to watch her.
And your hospitality in the bits is second to none as well.
Yeah, it's good. We bought that semi, but we still love the bus. I kept the bus, so we have that. just in case. So if we get somewhere where we need to, have, more space, we can always pull that around if Roderick allows us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that semi, because it's really catching fire on social media. It's a beast, and it's a familiar beast.
Yeah. So I actually was talking to Prince Hassan on WhatsApp the other day, letting him know I had it. But it's Prince Hassan's old guitar rig that we bought from Danny DeSantis. That's come kind of through the channels, and he was using it for his McLaren dealership. But we picked it up, rewrapped it. We didn't mess with the paint or anything, so it all looks as it should. And it worked really well. It has a nice blue pin in it. It pulled all our colors through, and it works well. So a couple interior things that we're going to do. We got Starlink, I think, that's being installed on it next week, and just some other things to where we can do telemetry from the truck into the boats, to where we can, do our own live stream if we want to, or we can have the ability for the crew chief to watch the boats from a performance and a telemetry perspective. So that was something we wanted to get done.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, one of the things that I noticed when I went to the NHRA event this fall with Monster and got to hang out with the forces is literally they have 2 semis there, and one is full hospitality. I mean, that's all it is for their fans, for their sponsors and all that. And it wasn't just them, it was multiple teams that, hospitality was huge about, whether the person had bought a VIP pass or whether their sponsors needed places to, send some of their clients out to wine and dine them. So it is a big deal. And I've noticed that P1's trying to do that and, offer VIP events, and Race World Offshore does the same thing in Key West, like getting you out in the outer mole and making it seem like you're more than just a spectator, you're part of the event. So it's neat.
Yeah, it'd be good if we could figure out an avenue at the mole, for instance, or at any of these facilities, candidly, to get these VIP type trailers in a spot where there is either race visibility or there's a large screen or there's something to where you have an elevated experience for them. Yeah. Right. I mean, Sarasota is a great area right in the pits there. I mean, I think you could do some really cool stuff. I just
watching the boats go in and out.
Yeah. I just don't know how you get that done with the groups that we have. It's tough.
Yeah, it is due to the fact that we're usually not right by where we race. So it'd be cool to have more, beach presence or presence closer to the race course.
Well, Race World Offshore is doing a better job of it, right? They've got the podium set up so that they have some kind of presentation immediately after the race, so that the fans are there to enjoy that. And they've opened up the award ceremony to the public, when before it was, Myrick, it was in a hotel conference room, banquet hall with just other racers. So like you're announcing the world champion, and the other teams aren't necessarily happy for you, and they're just like rolling their eyes, clapping. Like so,
right.
It's cool that they're.
I've done a lot of eye rolling.
A Key West layout this year was awesome. I mean, it was
the big stage,
big stage, but to pull up every day. Right on the mole right there, get your trophy, jump back in, get out of there. Right. I mean, that was cool for people.
Yeah.
That's
huge to me. I've also heard that Clearwater, they might, it's how it's kind of a cluster with the multiple different pits there. And then down by the cranes, it gets really tight. I've heard that they might move us out like almost to the beach. Yeah, there's a big park out there in Clearwater. So hopefully that goes down.
But that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. Clearwater's great, and I know it's disruptive because we're all in different places, but it's still a great race site. That's tough. And we talk on the Supercat calls about how do we evaluate race sites and what do we do to try and help these race promoters put things together, crane locations and pit setups and beach access and on down the stack. But I think over the coming year. I think there'll be a lot of effort put into that to try and help these organizers come together with a a good race product. I think that's just got to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess it's one of the advantages of more than one sanctioning body being out there. That makes the other guys have to, try harder.
That's right.
Same way with the race teams. When there's more competition, you got to try harder.
That's right.
So the Super Cat class has selected the races that they have chosen to attend this year. Are both of you guys going to all of those races? And if so, what are they?
Yes, we are. The Super Cat group aligned their schedule with the APBA schedule. We went through a little bit of turbulence there on trying to get those aligned. We had a couple locations, one being Michigan City, which is a racer's favorite, but it wasn't part of the APBA national points. With an 8 race schedule with a 2 race drop, it becomes pretty tough to add. And Ray, you and I were talking about this earlier. How do you add a second or third or fourth race in there in a region? It's pretty tough on us as owners, as team owners. Yeah. I mean, it's a big check to run these races, and we run into a situation where you got to go to Michigan City and there's no points. And then we had the separation between the Super Cat Trophy and the US1, designation, and that was, I guess it was always figured out in the past, but it was always figured out because APBA had 5 races. Right now they've got 8 races. Now what? Right? I mean, I have to go to every race because if the Super Bs are running, I got to go to those. Right? If Tyler has to deal with Class 1 and he has to deal with Super Cat, he's going to those. Right? I mean, so all of a sudden you throw in 1 or 2 races, and if you're running a 5 race engine schedule, let's just say it's 4 just for the excitement of all of us, right? I mean, now all of a sudden, you get 3 or 4 engine changes in a season. I mean, we can't keep adding races without adding a purse to help offset the cost, or define the top race courses by the teams, not the promoters, but the teams all come out via a survey or whatever and say, hey, here's, 200 teams just voted between Class 7 to Class 1, and we believe that the best race course is X, right? I mean, and the second best is this, and we're going to pick the top 8. So you have to fix your race site, right? Instead of us trying to fight that battle, right? And Billy Moff is on that like a wild man. I mean, he's all over that message, and I agree with his message. But right now we're just in the spot where you got 2 or 3 promoters that are trying to work within APBA, and it's not always working out. But we as the team owners can't really do anything about that, right? Until we have some sort of additional clarity on what race courses we like. I mean, if we all love Sarasota or we all love St. Clair, which everybody loves Michigan City and St. Clair, but we can't get on the race schedule because it's not part of APBA, and we all have to run 6 APBA races, right? Now that's plus Key West. There's 9 races plus 2 2 non-point races. It's a lot. And do it with 2 boats or 3 boats as Tyler does. Now you're
It's not even just the maintenance of the boat, it's hotel rooms and travel, and it accumulates quickly.
10 hotel rooms between, you got 11 Super Cat teams, so you need 100 rooms just to take care of Super Cat.
Yeah.
100 rooms to take care of Super Cat. Think about that.
To Brett Manier's point, and then all those weekends on the road or weeks on the road takes away from actual business. Performance Boat Center, they're a race team, but they're also trying to make a business and sell boats, and MTI as well, and whoever else is trying to conduct their business.
Every one of these guys, because they're all small business owners, every one of these race team owners is a small business owner, or they own their own business, whether it's big or small.
Right.
But to be away from work and keeping their eye on things is costly.
Yeah.
Not one race team, and I don't even know what the race team count is in offshore. right? But it's got to be a couple hundred boats, and every one of those boats is impacted by lost revenue from this, right?
Yeah.
And that's not a cry for RWO and P1 to pay us a purse, right? No. It's just the reality. When you go from when you leave Florida on Memorial Day, because there's a parade that Wednesday at Lotto, and then you're gonna race. I mean, it's crazy. And so you got to be there that whole week. Then you're gonna leave on Sunday. You got no choice but to drive straight to Ocean City, right? And everybody we have is, I mean, we pay them, but come on, they're volunteering because they love the sport at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I mean, the pay we're giving them isn't offsetting what they're losing at work, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a tough struggle.
Yeah.
Tough struggle.
So all that aside, you have a big boat that you keep out there for fun. What is that?
I do. It's a 82 Hatteras yacht fish.
Beautiful. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, it's an awesome boat. I took it to Key West this year. We're taking it to Marathon. So we're trying to find a way to kind of leverage it a little bit for maybe a little bit of entertainment with some of the teams, to where we can get guys together and go out on a, it's hard because we do the build a boat thing on Saturday at Key West. It's nice to go out on the boat and just kind of fish or hang out and do whatever. So, we don't want to interrupt what's already kind of going on, but that boat is it's a 5-state-room boat. It's awesome. 2,300 mile range. So we can kind of do whatever we want.
It's a dream boat.
It sips fuel. Enclosed fly. It's crazy. I mean, my Sunseeker burned about 155 gallons an hour. This boat burns 35 gallons an hour. So it just chugs along, and it's just a unbelievable experience. It's heavy, so it just sits and kind of, it's a very cool experience on that thing. And it just goes to show you can go 10 knots and have fun. You can go, 200 mile an hour and have fun, right?
Yeah.
It works both ways. So there's not one way to solve this.
Yeah.
Just get on the water. That's right.
So Win has always told me to come down and go peacock bass fishing because he knows I like bass fishing so much. So,
and they're getting big.
Yeah,
that's changing a lot. I mean, a 6 or 7 pounder used to be huge, and now it's pretty consistent. I was talking to a guy tonight at dinner, but now they're catching 8s, 9s. I mean, they're getting to be legit. It's a really fun experience, and you'll catch 100 between 8 and 11 in the morning, just as many as you can catch. Yeah,
that's neat. That's neat. Isn't it you went with your dad a lot? Your dad likes to do it?
Yep. Yeah, I've taken my dad a few times. He loves doing it. My son, everybody, comes down from, nobody's seen them, right? I mean, they're such a unique fish.
Yeah.
It's a really good experience.
Used to have to go down to like Brazil and Amazon and catch them.
Yep.
Now they're in South Florida.
Wow. So, yeah, that's awesome.
So what else is on tap for Team Farnsworth for the rest of the year, or Win and Sarah?
We're kind of just heads down now, just kind of getting all our program put together and built out. We are excited about the race season, right? So there's two sides of that discussion we were just having, because, the way things laid out, we're going to get June and July. I mean, we're going to get a big window here of time off in the middle of the summer, to do kind of our own thing, unless we go run some OPA races. As you know, Anthony Smith is a team member of ours, and his dad owns the OPA program. So he'll probably go up and run some races up north. We'd like to do that as well, but we just got to figure out that balance. But we're going to take our boat, our big boat is going to the Bahamas, I believe, for the month of July. So we'll have it over there and just kind of fish and float and hang out and enjoy ourselves. So
I'm jealous.
We're excited about that. Just kind of relaxing for a month, but I won't be there the whole month, but it'll be a great opportunity to hang out in the Exumas and south of Nassau there to do a fun vacation.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so we got the big boat going to Marathon, we've got the big boat going to Key West, and the big boat's going to Clearwater, I believe. So we'll have the ability to have photographers or whatever on a platform out there, and I'm hoping to work with Roderick on getting us some sort of access to where we can be by the course. I mean, it's a 120 ton boat. It's not going to drift into anything, right? So we can, our crow's nest is, I think 48 feet high. So, you can get some great photography from up there. But
that's awesome.
So I think Ryan's coming out to hang out with us. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we call dibs on that. So that crow's nest.
Yeah, for sure.
And not only are you guys awesome hosts in the pits, but also on 007 and I assume the Hatteras as well. So looking forward. Yeah, you guys are never shortage of anything on board.
Yeah, we have a great staff. They do an awesome job for us. Our captain's name is actually Wahoo, which is a pretty good sign that he's a fisherman. So if it's, we go to Stu's poker runs and we'll go to Isla Morada and we pull up and Stu's having his dinner and Wahoo gets 30 pounds of stone crab. He gets fresh lobster. He gets all this stuff, right? And it's like, all the poker run people, the Tomcat skater. I just went blank on his name, but he was over
Fountain.
there, and
Todd Fountain.
Yeah, Todd Fountain. Yeah, so Todd and Ron Zolak and all his buddies, and I mean, people just kept a bunch of Midnight Express guys just kept coming on the boat. Hell, we had the best food for 200 miles.
That's awesome.
It's unbelievable. So Wahoo does an awesome job. Great boat captain and great fisherman.
Awesome. Myrick, what do your teams have in store for Marathon? Are you guys ready?
Super catting, man. That's what we're going to be doing. Test the boat again tomorrow. Just had one little oil leak after testing and wanted to go over everything. So got some prop testing to do tomorrow and some just overall going over everything. And then the boat leaves early next week. And that's it.
Where do you store your stuff down here, Myrick?
Well, there is a place in Sarasota. I think it's called Suncoast.
Okay.
When it's going to stay down there for a little while.
Right.
And that's Craig and Dave and Tyler's kind of gig, but
right.
Yeah. So then it'll stay there, and then it'll go back to Coco, and then it'll come back and it'll stay up here for a while. So.
Right.
They have quite the facility where they keep everything. It's only about a mile from the shop. So now that
awesome
compared to before when it was just at our shop, and now Tyler has it for all the rigs and everything to be inside. And it's pretty neat when everything's in there cleaned up and getting ready to go. All the monster garb showed up and stickers and all that cool stuff. Saw my kids going through, and I can see them in the house there, and they're going through the stickers right now. So I have to go in there and whoop some ass.
That's awesome.
No,
fun with the coils again.
Yeah. So we're getting down to it. We're what T-minus. This is about the time we'll start. I guess we leave Thursday and we fly into Key West, and then we drive up north to Marathon. So a week from tomorrow night, we'll be in Marathon, getting ready to have our first race of the season. It's weird. I'm still not used to it. The first race being this early. I mean, last year was the first time we'd ever done Marathon, and actually both of the races that I was in down there got canceled because of the weather and all the accidents, and it got pushed back. So I've actually not been in a marathon race for a long time. It was Super Cat out of Ferro Blanco, probably 2017 or 2018 was my last time actually officially racing there. We did do a time trial last year in Super Cat along the 7 Mile Bridge, but I don't think we're doing time trials in Super Cat this year, which I'm disappointed about it because I like to go out and see everybody's numbers and know how close we are or not. But I think it's still going to be drawing cards. So luck of the draw this year on the on your starting position.
Yeah. We voted on that as a group. That was something that we had brought up, and we stuck with.
Which I understand both ways. Both ways. So, less time on the equipment, and it is tough to fit it in when testing is going on, and things like that. And it does piss off other classes because they want to be out there testing. And then, oh yeah, the super cats are out there doing time trials, and it takes some time when you have 8 to 10 boats, and it takes, you do 2 laps and, and safety has to be out there for you and all that. So
I voted for newest team to the inside for the season. Wow. And that's
an interesting view.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of guys throwing out a lot of ideas, so I thought that was one that should be at least thrown in as well. So
good thing you raced in Key West, because I'd say rookies to the back.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we heard that too.
Well, I wasn't on the calls, so
that's right. You must have been texting somebody. But no.
Yeah.
No,
that's
good.
awesome.
So.
Well, it's a very exciting time, a week before the first official offshore race of the season. So good luck to both of you guys, Team Farnsworth and AmCon, Monster Energy, Performance Boats, and FASS Fuel System.
I wish you guys the best of luck.
Awesome.
That's
you
for
as
sure.
well, brother.
Yeah,
no, it's gonna be fun. We're just excited to get there and just kind of get an actual race. I mean, instead of just doing the stuff we were doing last year. So it'll be fun for everybody. And
I was talking to Taylor Sism this weekend at our event that we had there at the shop, and she was telling me how rare or an anomaly that weather was in Marathon last year when we had it. For the wind to be blowing that direction and to be stacking like that, I guess. So obviously she knows more people. I think Willie Cabiza is a Florida Keys guy, and he basically knows the weather a lot. Like I would know the weather here in Missouri, and he said, that won't happen again. Just probably won't happen again because that was an oddity for that to happen.
Definitely. Well, I mean, we had a tornado warning. We had, it was gale force winds. I mean, it was everything all at once. So it was a lot. But but we're excited. We're excited for it. We look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, you guys, good luck to both of you guys, and stay safe out there. And look forward to see who comes out on top for all your teams. And it's going to be an exciting season. So
very exciting.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. This has been another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro, Myrick Coil, and our bro, Win Farnsworth, owner of Team Farnsworth. Good luck to you guys in Marathon. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast. Thanks, Win.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.